Right, back live tonight here on In Focus. The Gauteng Portfolio Committee of Infrastructure Development has again visited some of the schools in the East Rand, including the Mayibuye Primary School. This is to assess construction at this school, which started in 2017. Committee chairperson Bones Modise joins us now for more on that. Bones, good to have you, and thank you very much for your time. Of course, your time in administration began in 2020, and you'll remember that 3 years ago we spoke to you, and the concern at the time, firstly, was the school was built on a wetland, but it later emerged that it wasn't really, but it was actually built on top of a sewer line. Why has it taken 3 years? Now, never mind the fact that it was already 3 years later when we were speaking to you. Now it's even another 3 years to finish that part of the work.
Mr. Nzuli, good evening to you and your viewers, and thanks for giving us an opportunity. And I know that Newzroom Afrika, you are one of the media houses that we have in the country that has been keeping us on our toes in relation to projects that are unfinished across the province. And I must indicate that after our discussion, you would remember that we had to go on the lockdown and all of that. However, what we did, and I'm happy that you still remember that we had to go back, have a joint committee meeting with education, infrastructure, and City of Johannesburg. And it emerged that it's not necessarily that the school was built on a wetland, but there's a problem of sewer. The report indicated that the sewer is on the outline of the school, but the unfortunate part is that it's spilling inside the schoolyard, and that is why the city was unable to issue the occupancy certification, because they were worried that the sewer might affect the kids. In the process of all of these things, a number of things that we expected to do as a portfolio committee, we always kept tabs on the Mayibuye. And today we went back to check how far the process is with Mayibuye, and we've picked up that as we speak now, there's a contractor on site, a different contractor. The one that was there is no longer on site. There's a new contractor that is busy now trying to ensure that the sewer line is connected to the main sewer of the community around Tembisa, community around Mayibuye, so that the spillage is no longer inside the school, but it can go through and join other sewer systems that are there, so that by January 2024, when the academic calendar starts, the children and beneficiaries of that school are able to utilize the school.
Yeah, Bones, it sounds impossible. I mean, if it has taken them 3 years just to get to this point, how possible is that? You literally have 2 months left before the academic year of 2024. Are they able to do that in 2 months?
From the discussion we had with the contractor, it seems like they are confident that they will be able to do it. You would remember that we've got 5 regions in the province, and the portfolio committee that were responsible for outside the schools, the issues of clinics, there's issues of health, sporting facilities, buildings like your high-rise buildings in and around Johannesburg, Pretoria, and Eguruleni. There are houses and so also it's infrastructure and property. So there's so many things that we're supposed to do as a portfolio committee. I wish we could concentrate on one thing until we get to the bottom of it and move to another one. But the work does not allow. There's so many things. Today, we met with other schools outside Mayibuye. The problems look like they're all similar across the province.
I'm going to come to the other schools. I want us to stay with this because the other reason that you're raising for the challenge that you're saying part of the reason is local contractors, or what we call business forums, who are affecting these projects. To what extent is the last 3 years of not completing that work blamed on that?
Remember, after we have visited, the contractor had decided to leave the school. And our understanding is that there was no work that was done in between, because they were trying to, the contractor took the department to court, and there were those issues of department and the contractor. I mean, I'm speaking to you now. I hope the contractor is watching, because I don't even know who's the contractor. Personally, we are also been taken to court by the contractor. There's a defamation that he says we must pay a certain amount of money. If not, we must go to court. So we said, let's go to court, because we've got no money to pay a contractor that was given an opportunity to build a school for the beneficiation of a black child, and he or she did not do what was expected of them.
Yeah, at what level was that contractor rated?
Excuse me?
At what level was the contractor rated?
What level was the contractor what?
Rated. Which level? Level 1, level 2? Where is he?
I mean, the project of that magnitude, I suppose you must be on a CIDB level 7 or 8. And it's another thing that we must speak about. At what point does this CIDB get to be upgraded from level 1 to level 2? What is it that you must prove? Is there a portfolio of evidence that you must produce? Is there a background check that they do before they upgrade one from level 1 to level 2? Because a project of that magnitude stipulated that you should be able to carry the project for a certain period without being paid by the department. And if you say yes, you're level 8, your company qualifies, then you are expected to do so. Unfortunately, majority of the project that we are dealing with that are abandoned, that contractors have left site, is because all of them are complaining that they did not have money to carry the project. And you wonder, how come you don't have money to carry the project if you are at this level? So we also need to speak about the CIDB and at what point do they give this upgrade.
So are you saying part of the issues that they would have been challenging you in court right now is that they did not have capacity in terms of money to complete the project, which at the time we were talking about an additional 32 million, I think, is what the figure would have been required to move the pipe, as you're saying, to connect it to the main line and to build a new access road.
We, as a committee, or me as a chairperson of the portfolio committee, I've been taken to court by the contractor for the comments that apparently I would have made when we first visited Mayibuye, which they feel that they were not fair. And we gave them an opportunity to come and meet with us as a portfolio committee, and they decided that they don't want to talk to us anymore. We'll meet in court. So we're waiting for that.
So there's a challenge here of, one, as you're putting it now, inability to then cancel the contract if contractors are not sticking clearly to the timelines. In fact, you mentioned that there are 3 projects that have been given to the same company, and all those 3 projects have not been completed on time. How do you just sit by and fold your arms and watch that happen?
Not necessarily that there were 3 projects that were given to this specific contractor. We are saying there are companies in the department that have got more than 1 or 2 projects, and all of those projects have not been finished. And this is one other thing that we need you as Newzroom Afrika to bring this debate to the public, that we need to discuss this thing. That at what point do us as politicians get involved in ensuring that the people that get appointed are people that are competent, people with the required skills and the technical know-how to be able to finish project. Because as it is, we only enter into these things at a very later stage of the entire process, and we don't even get to be involved in when the shortlisting is taking place. We don't get involved when the process of verification takes place, and so on and so forth. So we never know who gets appointed. This is a process that is purely of administrators. This is a process of purely those who are in the department, in the supply chain, in the procurement. And the moment you want to enter into that space, the media, everyone else will be saying that we want to interfere, we're meddling because we want to appoint our friends. But it has been proven over and over again that we get to show that the blame, that is precisely a responsibility of officials in the department. And then they don't get to be blamed by anyone.
But as lawmakers, then what do you say to respond to that? Because if you are, like now, sitting and you watch companies being continually given work by officials, yet they are not completing the first contract that they would have been given, what do you do as the lawmakers? Because you are exercising oversight as the portfolio committee.
Most definitely, our responsibility is to do oversight. And when you do oversight, we come at a later stage. And the process of everything else that happens prior to our oversight, we are not involved. But what we have done now, and we have tasked the department officials, is that they need to go and benchmark on the private sector. Check what is it that the private sector is doing. Why is the private sector able to complete projects in time, quality, and within budget? And then when we meet in our next meeting, they must make that presentation to us. And our researcher as well also has that responsibility to go and check, including ourselves as members of the community, so that when we meet, we are able to say, this is how we're going to do it. And we take our proposal to the sitting that the speaker will have called, so that the House can adopt a different approach and a different mechanism so that we are able to circumvent all these problems that we have picked up to date.
Let's look at the other schools. You went to Lakeside Primary School as well in Boksburg, 50 million rands on renovation. The principal there is saying that The windows are not closing, so it's leaking. The security system is off, so they are also not getting the necessary security to protect some of the assets. There is just quality of furniture being complained about as well. What is at the heart of that?
Now, when we went to Lakeside, the principal, when we had our session, a briefing session, he said something that I found very fundamental. He says to us, when the department came with a proposal to refurbish or renovate the school, himself and the entire management team saw it as a blessing that finally their school has been recognized. But now they feel that that is a curse, because from where the school was to where the school is now, it's completely a total different story. And he said if the school was operating at a 95%, now they are now sitting at 40%. And these contractors, our own brothers and sisters, the question is, what type of business people are these that can come into a project that is that a 200 million project, and when they leave, they want to leave with 190 million in their pockets? Is that how business is supposed to happen? I'm not a businessman. I might not know. Maybe that's how business happens. But my thinking would have been that when you go to a school and you are supposed to renovate the school, when you live there, at least your work must be able to speak for you, even in your absence. So if the school was at 95%, when you leave, at least leave the school at 170% operation. Now, what is happening now, it's completely out of order, and that's why we want to benchmark so that we are able to, if there are certain things that the private sector is doing in order to hold the contractors accountable, let's adopt the same style within government. Another thing is your business forum. Some of the contractors are complaining that we want to do honest job, but there are business forums who just come, demand money in the disguise of 30%. They don't do anything, and that affects us, and that affects the work that we're supposed to be doing. We want, moving forward, to involve the community long before the project comes into a particular community, so that by the time the project comes, the community are the owner of that project, and therefore we are able to deal with the business forums in that regard.
What's going to happen there at Lakeside? You're saying Mayibuye in the 2024 academic year, they should be able to be operating. We'll hold you to that. What is going to happen at Lakeside?
The same thing that we're doing with Mayibuye. Lakeside is also part of our priority schools, that we have the list of all the schools that we're focusing on in the entire province. We're having a meeting, I think, the last week of November, if not early December, where we are going to be meeting with the MEC and the HOD of Infrastructure Development. We're trying to see if we can have a joint meeting. We include both the MEC and the HOD of Education, including the City of Johannesburg, so that we sit down, we resolve the issue of Mayibuye. City of Johannesburg must come on the premises from time to time. We must not wait until the contractor says, I'm done with the sewer, now I'm ready, and the city can say, no, there's a problem here, there's a problem there, so I can't offer you the certificate. So we want them to be there on site, advise the contractor from time to time, so that January, when it comes, the same way that the contractor promised that by January the school will be ready, everything should be ready. The school should be ready, the certificate should be ready, so that the children can use that thing. And then in our meeting with both MECs, if it's possible, is to raise these concerns that we have, so that by the time we go to the House and submit our report to the House to be adopted as a way forward, at least they had an opportunity to engage in our report and recommendations.
But it seems though you still have the elements within governments, government officials who are continuing. So how do you continue to give a company 8 projects when you know 6 of them have not been finished? And nothing, there's no consequence management, no accountability as far as those officials. Nobody's asking a question as to why are you giving this company this amount of money? No investigations are being done.
Exactly our point, and hence I'm saying to you, in our meeting with the MECs, we've got proposal as the portfolio committee. We just need to meet ourselves as a committee to formalize our proposals. As soon as we have done that, we can be able to talk about them, so that we are able to present them before the MECs. They have they have an engagement with us, so that when we present them to the House, once the House adopts them, we can then publish that henceforth, this is how we're going to do business in Gauteng. Because clearly something needs to happen, and someone has to account.
Bones Modise, I appreciate your time as always. Thank you very much, sir, for coming on. Committee chairperson there in the Department of Infrastructure Development in the province of Gauteng.